So we're going to call the meeting to order. The Village of Sayward respectfully acknowledges that we're on the land gathered on the unceded territory, traditional territory of the Comox First Nations, the traditional keepers of this land. This is a special council meeting, or pardon me, not special, but a postponed. Regular council meeting was going to be on the 4th. It has been moved to today, the 11th, due to illness and weather. So called the meeting to order. And do we have any late items?
I have a late item. I would like to add to the correspondence list the email that I sent on January 2nd, 2022 to Mayor and Council about the HH grant, that, what's it called? The grant where Tony was going to orientate people to helping out in the community, and a request about finding out what the plan is for the share shed. And then I would like to add that as a late item to be discussed.
Okay, so when we go to correspondence, we'll get you to pull that.
Okay.
Okay, and we can discuss it at that point. So
Okay.
we'll move late item to correspondence. Everybody agree?
Yep.
No problem? Okay. The approval of agenda for the special council meeting for the January 11th, 2022 be approved. All in favor? Anybody? No, everybody's good? All right. Minutes of previous meeting. A recommended resolution is that the meeting from the special council meeting held on December 9th be adopted. So do I have any opposed? Now I got to remember how all this works. It's been so long. Okay, so we have discussion. No. All in favor? Opposed? Hearing or seeing none? Carried. Petition and delegations? None. Correspondence. Move that A to F be carried, and we're going to discuss which is now G. Understood. So recommended resolution that correspondence from A to F be approved. Does anybody need any correspondence pulled other than what Councillor Polson's going to pull? No. Oh, Councillor Craig, you're muted.
Thank you. I'd like to, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to talk about the correspondence number C, the CSWM bylaw adjudication comment, please.
Okay, thank you. So recommended resolution that A, B, D, E, and F be accepted correspondence. Do we have all in favor? Opposed? Okay, so we'll go into discussion. We'll start with Councillor Craig on C. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, I've read through this and it's interesting to me. Basically what this talks about is a different way of collecting bylaw infractions and fines, going from the MTI system to a new adjudication system, where it works. From what I read here, it works like the exact same way it works in the residential tenancy branch, where you have a dispute with your landlord. You and the landlord come together with an adjudicator assigned by the ministry, and the adjudicator then hears both sides of the issue and then rules in a judgment. And it seems like that's what the trend is, to do that route versus going to the provincial courts and setting appointments and waiting a year and a half to get your appointments, if you do actually get them at all. So I think it's incumbent upon this council to actually take a good hard look at this and maybe direct staff to look a bit more in depth in this, because I believe this is probably a better way to go for the village of Sayward.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
So why don't we move this, move C to an agenda item for the next council meeting so we can discuss that further, give chance for the staff to look into it.
That's a good plan, yeah.
So for Lisa and Melissa, we'll move C. Is everybody okay with that? All in favor? Any further discussion on C? Okay, let's move to, sorry.
I'd like to have a comment on that. At the waste management committee meetings that I attend, I imagine this will be on the agenda at the next meeting, which is next week. So if council has any direction for me to take, if there is a vote called at that meeting, I would appreciate having it, having the will of the council beforehand, so I can vote accordingly.
Okay, sorry, when is your meeting again, Councillor Paulson?
Next Thursday.
Okay. Councillor Craig?
Yeah, I actually read in here that they've already had first and second reading of this bylaw, because they actually made a bylaw at Waste Management to do this. So they've had first and second reading. And it also states in here that you can carry both sets of systems. Like some communities are fine to carry both sets of systems. So they're not actually saying an either or an or. They are allowing anybody to have both sets of systems. So there's really no harm in us saying, yeah, we can look into having both sets of systems. Because they're not saying either or in this, from what I've read in here, unless I've mistakenly read something, but I don't believe so. So I don't think there's any actual harm in giving Councillor Paulson any direction to take to her next meeting.
Okay, thank you. Is that all we're going to discuss? Anybody else have anything else on C? Councillor Craig, your hand is up. Nope, sorry. Nobody else? Okay, so Councillor Paulson, let's go to you, our fictitious G, please.
Okay. It was a correspondence sent from Sayward Future Society on the 2nd of January, and it reads as follows. At SFS, we have one more grant position to fill, and it must be completed by February 26th, 2022. The question is there any plan to get the HH grant funding going soon? We were hoping we could coordinate the new Sayward Futures hire with the village grant that is related to COVID revitalization. Although there are few lawns to cut or weeds to pull, we could focus on snow removal for the vulnerable and other winter tasks. Also, what is the plan for the share shed? Getting that back up and operational would be a boost to the whole community. I understand that the stock is in poor shape and lots needs to be discarded. We are hoping this could be a project to clean it out and prepare for a spring reopening. Please advise on the status of the share shed and the Healthy Communities Kindling Community Kindness Grant. Thank you, Sue Paulson, Chair, Sayward Future Society.
Okay. CFO?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. To council, I'm not too sure what the status is with the share shed, and I'm not entirely sure who was taking the share shed on. I believe it was just volunteer based. And I don't think there has been enough volunteers to keep the share shed running at this point. I'm not sure who to follow up with, but if somebody has ideas of who to talk to or who was doing, I think at one point it was Jackie Lyons and the Legion. So I'm unsure about that. And the second item, the Plan H grant, I need to have a look at the funding criteria to see what things are covered. I haven't had a look at that grant in several weeks due to other commitments. So I can definitely have a look at it and maybe just follow up with council in the next day or two and follow up with you, Sue, as the representative from Sayward Futures, and see what the parameters are and if we can start that. We did actually have a few volunteers over the last week clearing some snow and helping some of the seniors out. So we are issuing a few payments. It was quite challenging to get volunteers last week. We did put a few notices out. We contacted several people, and it just didn't seem like there was enough manpower, enough people willing to volunteer to, well, I guess not volunteer, but actually be paid because it's a grant. There wasn't a lot of interest in even doing the work if they were getting paid. So it's something to work on for sure, and I can definitely follow up with council the next day or two.
Thank you. Got Councillor Craig first and then Councillor Tinsley. You're muted, Councillor Craig.
All right, yeah, it was Howie. Howie was running the share shed for the longest of times. I can have a chat with him to see what the status is. I don't recall Howie's last name, but everybody knows who Howie is. He just lives down the road there. So I can definitely talk to Howie and see what the status of the share shed is. And as far as the volunteers who help shovel people out, that's absolutely wonderful. I'm glad that they're going to get paid. I know that I did my share of volunteering. I didn't get paid for it, but that's all right too. I would like to follow up with Councillor Polson's email as best as we possibly can, because if anything has demonstrated we can work together on especially snow removal in the future. I know that this year was a very bad snow year. This seems to be a way to do it. Thank you.
One of the things that we do have to check though regarding the share shed is the public health order and how that affects that. Councillor Tinsley, you're next.
I was just going to add, per Councillor Craig's comment, in the newsletter, I'm not sure if it's Howie's name, but there is a name as a contact for the share shed in the monthly newsletter. So I don't have it in front of me, but there is a contact person there. It might be Howie, I'm not sure.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Polson.
As much as I can recall, Howie was paid by the village a small wage every month to manage the share shed and have it open the 3 days a week. And the money that was collected there was donated to the Legion. And at one point it was Brianne Stacy that collected the money every 3 months, and then it was given to the Legion. I believe Jackie Lyons was a volunteer who went and wiped off the shelves and organized things during the on Tuesdays. So what Sayward Futures, I believe, now I don't know if I'm in conflict with saying this, but what Sayward Futures would like to do is have, if the share shed is condemned or full of rodents, or that if all the contents are moldy or mildewed or need to be discarded, we would like to have our new employee be able to go in with the proper protective gear and clean the place out, so that if there is any plans for it to reopen, to be able to get that ready for the springtime. So that's what we hope that we could do.
Okay. So the CFO said that she will get back to you in the next few days and go from there. I mean, if it is rat infested, then everything's going to have to be cleaned out. And maybe some repairs need to be done to that shed to help prevent rodents from entering on their own free will, I guess. Okay. Yeah. Is that all that you like to say, Councillor Polson, on C, or pardon me, G?
I'd just like to say that I think it's relevant to get on this quickly, because our last employee is an incredible positive person working for us at Sayward Futures, and he's really eager to get things done, and he's employed until the 26th of February. So definitely it would be a community related project for us to do, which is what part of our employee grant was initiated for. So we'd like to use it appropriately.
Okay. So I believe the CFO said she'd get back to you in the next 2 days or so.
Yes. Yes.
So,
Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. So council reports? Any? No? Reports of committees? No? Mayor's report. There's a couple of things I want to touch on here. First, I want to make sure that we put it out there to the public that how impressed I was and so many other people were with Tony and Mike. They worked nonstop to make sure that the roads were clear, and it just kept snowing and snowing, and they've been going hard for about 3 weeks or so. So, I mean, and in between all the power outages, and we still don't have our generators up for the lift stations. So in between doing all of that. So I want to put a big shout out to them. I also want to thank our office staff. I want to thank Melissa for going around and making several calls to try to help people for snow removal. And the same goes for Lisa, our CFO. You saw a lot of people come together during the storm and help people out. And that was really impressive to see. Hopefully this will not become our new norm. I'm hoping. What we are going to do is once the dust settles, is we are going to sit down and have a discussion on some plans in terms of whether it's 72 hours or 12 hours, and we open up the warming center. We have to look at coming up into the summer because they're expecting again that the new norm could be these heat domes. So we're going to have to look at, and we can use, from what I understood, COVID money to apply air conditioning into the Kelsey Center. So we have an opportunity for people to have that cool down place as well as a warming center. So these are all things that we're going to have to come up with an actual plan for and have it in writing and a policy to what everybody knows, opposed to us getting hit hard again and sort of going from the seat of our pants on that. Also, in terms of Pat Rush has resigned her position. So Pat Rush has got some family things that she needs to make sure that are front and center. She has resigned her position, so we're going to be talking to, I believe Lisa's going to be talking to Sean Koopman, and we're going to be moving on getting a new ECP for it. You know, it's a shame. Pat had, you know, obviously has a lot of experience in the community, but has to take care of herself and her family first, and I understand that. But I wanted to thank her anyways for the work that she has done to date. Also, a quick little note is December 17th, when we had the parade and the lighting of the tree and that, I thought was a very successful event. There was a lot of people that attended. They had a good time. It was beautiful. It was a little bit of snow, which really helped. And, you know, wanted to thank Sayward Futures for being there with the hot chocolate and the coffee and the hot dogs. That was, overall, I think it was a very successful and a good event. I think people really enjoyed it. For the Christmas from our portion, we had a $1,500 budget. I believe we're going to be coming in somewhere around 900. Not all the monies is in yet, but I think we're going to be around 900. So that's good. And it's something to build on for next year. And that is the end of my report. Thank you. Number 10, unfinished business. None. And we're going to go to staff reports. So CFO, do you want to take A? Or do
I
we
don't
need
have anything to add for
Okay.
A.
Thank you. So recommended resolution that council approves the attached amended 2022 regular council meeting scheduled as presented, noting that June, July, August, and December meetings are varied from Council Procedure Bylaw 416, 2015 to 1 meeting per month. So do I have a motion, please? Second,
I'll second that.
discussion? No? All in favor? Opposed? Hearing or seeing none, motion carried. And next recommended resolution is that the staff, or pardon me, council directs staff to amend the council procedure bylaw to revise section 4 regarding the inaugural meeting. So do I have a motion, please?
I'll move that.
Second? Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Hearing none, carried. B, fireworks bylaw and community survey. We'll go through that on discussion. Recommended resolution is that the council directs staff to prepare a moderate restricted fireworks bylaw and the consequent amendments to the fire protective service bylaw, ticketing bylaw, and fees, and fee charges bylaw. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll move that.
Second?
Second it.
Okay. Discussion? I have a question. I don't know if CFO did Anne, the former CAO, did she have legal look at that?
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, legal look at what?
The fireworks bylaw and what we had to do?
Not yet, as there isn't a bylaw currently
Okay,
in play. So this, yeah, we haven't done up the bylaw yet, so nothing's gone to legal.
okay, so that bylaw would go to legal prior to coming back to council, is that correct?
It can, yes, if that's your desire.
Okay, anybody on council disagree with that? Nope.
Well, actually, yeah, Mr. Mayor, I'm confused as to why you'd like that step. I mean, there are several, when this first came to council way back when, there are several, we did our research, there are several communities that have varied bylaws in the province of British Columbia, especially up north and in the interior. Their bylaws vary differently than, say, bylaws in Vancouver or Coquitlam and Burnaby regarding fireworks. So it's very standard to have different fireworks bylaws in different communities.
No, I understand that, Councillor Craig. I guess what I'm looking for is once we have the wording of what kind of thing we're looking for in our bylaw, if we have legal, make sure that number one, we've done our due diligence and it is within the letter of the law and can be enforced. The big thing with the bylaw is to make sure that it can be enforced properly when we're handing out fines, or the RCMP are handing out fines for it. I just want to make sure that we have done our due diligence and we're not in a position to where we've made a mistake.
All right, fair enough, fair enough.
That's all. Okay, so that was in the discussion part. So do we have all in favor? Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. C, investing in Canada infrastructure grant opportunity and grant writing. The question that I have for the CFO before we get going on that is, do we still have enough time?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I touched base with the consultant yesterday, I believe, and yes, there's still time.
Perfect, thank you. The recommended resolution is that council authorize staff to make application to the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program, green infrastructure or short-term or medium-term upgrades to drainage systems. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll move that.
Second,
I'll second it.
discussion? Nope. Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Hearing, oh, Councillor Craig? You're opposed? Okay, do you have any comment?
I do, it's just, I tried to raise my hand, I just wasn't fast enough.
No, sorry, go ahead.
I don't I'm not opposed to the actual getting an outside grant writer for this application, as we do not have a CAO at the point of time, so it makes sense. I am opposed to whom we chose to be our grant writer. I have zero faith in urban systems, and I would prefer to look to McElhaney or a different contractor.
Okay.
Thank you.
CFO, do you have any comment?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't have any comments. There's sort of a time crunch here, so going out and getting another consultant to look at this and you know, give us a proposal. I just don't know if that's feasible at this point. And the prior CAO had already spoken to Urban Systems about this particular grant opportunity, and they had already done a bit of work on it. So it's sort of a carry forward from that work.
And they're
Thank you.
confident in their ability to get us the grant after with that kind of outlay in cash.
According to their proposal, yes.
Okay, thank you. So we have one opposed. Councillor Craig, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. So motion carried. Kelsey Center Public Health Order. Recommended resolution that council approve a transfer of $4,300 from the COVID-19 Reserve Fund to cover the Kelsey Center Recreation revenue shortfalls and operational expenses due to public health restrictions. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll move that.
Second? Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Discussion? Nope. Opposed? All in favor? Oh, sorry. Councillor Craig, you're opposed?
I am, yeah.
Okay. Did you have any comment on that?
Yeah, I'm obviously I'm opposed to the lockdowns by the provincial government, and I believe that due to my particular stance on the vaccine and the passports and the mandates, I don't feel that we should have had to close our institutions, but I'll leave that discussion for another day. Thank you.
Yeah, regretfully, we don't have the ability to supersede any provincial health order. So that's comes down from above us. Any other discussion? Councillor Tinsley?
Sorry, I just wanted, it's really back to C. I'm not sure we did the second part of that resolution around the exact dollar figure. So when we're done with this.
I'm sorry. Thank you. So recommended resolution that the council authorize staff to retain Urban Systems for a total of $8,545. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll move that.
Second?
I'll second it.
Do we have discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Opposed. Motion is carried. Thanks for pointing that out, Councillor Tinsley. Did we completed the D, is that not correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So number 12, we're going into bylaws. There is none. 13 is new business. Is there any new business, CFO?
No, there isn't, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. And 14 is our public question period. The purpose of the public question period is to enable citizens to ask questions to council on issues that are important to the citizen asking the question. Speakers are asked to limit their question to one, and if time permits, everyone will have the opportunity to ask a second question. Citizens will be stating their name and their address. Do we have anyone online? CFO?
Nope, there's nobody online and there's nobody here in council chambers, and there was no emails submitted.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And again, we're going to be going to camera, but before we adjourn, normally, and according to the procedural bylaw, I'm supposed to be in council chamber, but because I've been sick for the last 10 days, and not at the end of that. I'm coming to the end of that now. I did not want to expose the office staff to that, so that's why I'm doing it online as well. So thank you. We're going to adjourn and go into camera. And so I'd like to, an adjournment, or first do I have to do the in-camera spiel? CFO?
Yeah, that's correct, Mr. Mayor. You just need to make a motion to go in camera and why you're going in camera. I think I sent that information to you.
You did. You did. And I will pull that up just to make sure. And there we go. Okay. So we had the one late item where you're going to go in camera. I need a motion. In accordance to section 92 of the community charter, that the council meeting be closed to the public at this time in order to the council make consideration to matters in accordance with section 90-1C of the community charter to discuss labor relations and other employee relations. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll move that.
Second,
I'll second it.
discussion? No, all in favor? Opposed? Okay. Then the meeting for January 11th, 2022, the regular council meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Now we're going to go into